What if you could erase your most painful memory, a single moment of trauma, gone forever? What if the story of your life, everything that makes you you, isn't written in ink, but in a code that can be rewritten? Science is no longer asking if this is possible. It's asking how. From neurons that fire together and wire together, to using light itself to switch a memory on and off. This isn't science fiction, this is the strange new reality of your mind's architecture. Welcome to 𝐌𝕣𝐌𝕠𝕕𝕙. Here, we explore the 𝐌𝕣𝐌𝕠𝕕𝕙 invisible poetry of visible life. Think about your earliest memory. Is it a color, a feeling, the scent of your grandmother's kitchen, a melody from a forgotten song? For centuries, we've treated memory as a dusty attic of the mind, a passive library of our past. We believed memories were like video recordings, played back perfectly each time, but we were wrong. A memory isn't a thing you have, it's an action you do. Every time you recall an event, you aren't just watching a replay, you are rebuilding it from scratch, neuron by neuron. And each time you rebuild it, it changes, ever so slightly. Memory isn't a perfect record, it's a living, breathing story we tell ourselves, and the science of how that story is written and rewritten is more bizarre and profound than we ever imagined. So, how does a fleeting experience, the sight of a sunset, the taste of a first kiss, become a permanent part of your being? It begins with a symphony of electrical whispers between brain cells, or neurons. When you experience something new, a specific group of neurons fires in a unique pattern. Neuroscientists have a famous saying, neurons that fire together, wire together. Imagine you're walking through a dense forest for the first time. You have to push branches aside, creating a rough path. That's a new weak memory. If you walk that same path again and again, it becomes wider, clearer, and easier to travel. This is a process called long-term potentiation, or LTP. The connections, the synapses, between those specific neurons get stronger. The electrical signal travels more efficiently. A memory is being physically carved into the structure of your brain. The brain's librarian, a seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus, is crucial here. It takes these new experiences and decides which ones are important enough to keep. It rehearses them, strengthens them, and then, over time, files them away for long-term storage in the vast library of the cortex. This is the invisible ink of our lives, a physical change, an engram for every cherished moment. But what about the memories we lose? Forgetting feels like a failure, a bug in our system, but it's not a bug, it's a feature. Our brains intentionally prune away unused connections to make room for new, more relevant information. The forest paths we no longer walk become overgrown and disappear. This is natural, but what if we could choose which paths to erase? This is where science enters the realm of eternal sunshine of the spotless mind. Researchers have discovered a weakness in how we remember. Every time you recall a memory, it doesn't just play back, it becomes unstable, vulnerable, like a wet painting. For a few hours the brain has to work to save it all over again, a process called reconsolidation. And, in that window of vulnerability, science can intervene. In laboratory studies with animals, scientists have successfully used drugs that block the proteins needed for this reconsolidation. When the animal is reminded of a fearful memory, and then given the drug, the memory doesn't get resaved. It's as if the path was walked one last time, but then washed away by a river before it could be solidified again. The implications for humans are staggering. Imagine a veteran suffering from PTSD, haunted by a single traumatic event. With this therapy, the emotional sting, the terror, the panic, could potentially be dampened, or even erased, without deleting the factual memory of the event itself. The science gets even stranger. A revolutionary field called optogenetics has given scientists an even more precise tool. It sounds like something from a superhero movie. It allows them to control brain cells using light, by inserting a light-sensitive gene from algae into specific neurons, the very neurons that hold a particular memory. Researchers can create a literal on-off switch. In landmark experiments, they have been able to activate a fear memory in a mouse simply by shining a blue light into its brain, causing it to freeze in terror even in a safe place. Even more incredibly, they have done the reverse. They've taken a bad memory and, by stimulating different neurons associated with positive feelings, effectively rewritten the memory from a negative one to a positive one. They turned fear into pleasure. They are not just erasing memories, they are editing them. This power, the power to edit the very fabric of our identity, forces us to ask profound questions. If we erase our pain, do we also erase the compassion and strength we gained from it? Who we are is a tapestry woven from both bright and dark threads. If we start pulling out the dark ones, does the entire picture unravel? Who decides which memories are acceptable to erase? A painful breakup, a professional failure? Where do we draw the line? Our memories are more than just data. They are the invisible poetry that gives meaning to our visible lives. They are the ghost in the machine, the narrator of our personal story. As we stand on the brink of controlling this fundamental aspect of our humanity, we must remember that a life without shadows may also be a life without depth. The science is incredible, but the wisdom to use it lies not in the lab, but within us. Thank you for joining us on this journey at MrModu.com. If you want to explore more of the hidden science that shapes our world, subscribe and join the conversation. What is one memory you would never want to forget? What if you could erase your most painful memory, a single moment of trauma, gone forever? What if the story of your life, everything that makes you you, isn't written in ink, but in a code that can be rewritten? Science is no longer asking if this is possible, it's asking how. Thank you for joining us on this journey at MrModu.com. If you want to explore more of the hidden science that shapes our world, subscribe and join the conversation. What is one memory you would never want to forget?